This is the Wrestlebread Podcast, bringing you the latest news, recaps, and analysis of AEW and WWE. Get the unique perspective from a wrestling fan of over 25 years. Here's your host, Jaydee.
What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee, and this is episode 160 of the Wrestlebread Podcast. So we got some football coming soon. I mean, at least preseason football, but still, it is football. And might I add, it is a great time right now to be alive. We got football coming, especially with all the crazy trades and releases and everything like that we had in NFL right now. We also have WWE, coming to a new era. No more of the Vince McMahon, crazy storylines and, SmackDowns where there's only like 2 seconds of wrestling and like 6 hours of promos, stuff like that. And we're getting like legitimate good TV, and WWE's exciting again. And now we have AEW. We're coming up on All Out, and hopefully they go all out with their booking and stuff like that. And now it's like, okay, we just had a great Raw, and now Tony Khan has 48 hours to respond. This is a good position to be in. And, I know this is going to start the whole AEW versus WWE. I still don't get why people, feel the way that they feel. I just want good wrestling. That's all I want. I just want good wrestling. Hell, if Impact start putting on some bomb ass shows, I'll check them out from time to time too. But truthfully, between WWE and AEW, it's like 20 hours of wrestling right there, and I don't even watch all 20 hours. But great time to be a wrestling fan. Great time to be a fan of anything. A lot of things is just coming out right now. So getting into the rumors and some news, apparently WWE is lifting the ban on the word wrestling and wrestler. Guys, I think we're getting into wrestling again with WWE. I mean, this is an exciting time. Like, maybe not going to be NXT 3.0 or anything like that. But just better presentation of people. I mean, Papa H is letting everyone know he got full custody of his damn kids. Like, he's bringing his damn kids back. He had laid out his plan. I mean, he laid out a plan better than Kevin did in Home Alone, all right? The first one at that. But yeah, so there's a lot of things, first of all, that's happening with WWE. Getting to Mr. Vince McMahon. So more investigations have came out that there are 2 additional payments totaling $5 million that has been unaccounted for. A total of $19.6 million in unrecorded expenses with the company's financial statements, which apparently has been paid or will be paid by Vince McMahon. So this man done paid almost $20 million for the shit that he's been doing behind the scenes. The thing that I like is crazy is that Vince only brought WCW for $3 million. Vince has $20 million to fuck around, and he couldn't pay his people, proper contracts. He couldn't, use the money to do something better with the fucking company. Like, all these budget cuts and all this other shit that we've been going through the past couple of years and stuff like that. It's like, you had the money. And instead you just used it to cover up the shit that you did. And I don't want to hear about, they took the money and all this other stuff. Look, they were put into positions where a person in power basically used their power to get over on him. Like I said about Tori Wilson, and I will keep using her as an example. Her first night in WWE, she was put into a storyline where she had to kiss Vince McMahon. Like, could she have said no? Yeah, but that really puts her in a really in a really tough spot, because it's either you go along with things and do the storyline, or you say no and be the difficult person on your first day of the job. But, I cannot wait for once they really do, like, I would say probably like similar to a dark side of the ring type of situation with Vince McMahon. We're gonna hear so much stuff, especially if once he passes away. Oh, everybody's gonna come out the woodworks with stories about Mr. Vince McMahon. Like we're already getting it now. First of all, Lana, formerly known as Lana, CJ Perry was on Renee's podcast. Be sure to check that out. She talked about um the storyline that she had with Dolph Ziggler where she had to kiss him. And apparently she had to practice kissing Dolph Ziggler, not only in front of Vince, but in front of Miro and in front of um, Johnny Ace as well. And they like told her how to do it and stuff like that. And they was like really into, like really looking on and stuff like that. And of course, Miro, according to what um, she said, we had to practice the kiss, and Miro was turning red in the corner. Vince is like, what? We're all adults. What's the problem? We're all adults. Professionalism. Don't be weird. So we do it, and Vince goes, no, 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 way slower. He doesn't fully kiss Johnny Ace, but he gets like this close. I mean, it was hilarious. Dolph was dying. That's why we went so slow in that segment. I recently watched it with one of my friends, and I was like, this is so slow. But everyone was like, you look so innocent, like you never done it before. And that's what Vince was going for. He wanted it to be innocent, like she never kissed anyone before. It was very weird. I remember that segment, and I remember how awkward it was with the kiss. Like it really felt unrealistic. Especially for the fact that you want her to kiss like she's innocent, where you obviously was having the storyline of her being with Dolph Ziggler um versus Rusev at that time, especially when it came to the whole Bobby Lashley thing. It was very tough. But yeah, we have stuff like that. We Speaking of Johnny Ace, he got canned. I wonder if his shit got thrown in the trash bag like he did with Mickey James, or if he got called over the phone or text and was let go as well. Who knows? We'll never know that. All I know is once we get that documentary or like the true story of Vince McMahon, oh my gosh, the details is going to be so juicy. I believe Kurt Angle also talked about dealing with Vince McMahon backstage. The segment where he had to kiss Stephanie McMahon, he said that Vince McMahon was right there and that he was like feeling very uncomfortable about it with Vince being right there. Now I forgot the exact details of exactly what he said. But I'm not surprised. Like I cannot wait to get the juicy details of all the crazy shit that has happened backstage. Because, we've been hearing things about Vince for decades. And of course, people, we don't know whether it's true or not, if it's someone saying these things because they are that upset or something like that. But oh my gosh, I can only imagine the things that we have yet to hear. And I really hope people aren't surprised that Vince is the way he is. Like, the person he plays on TV is pretty much not that far off from who he is in real life. I'm not surprised about it. But let's go on to better news, which is that Papa H is here and Papa H got custody of his kids. We have Stephanie McMahon, who is CEO, which means the women's division is obviously going to be good because according to her, she is the start of the face of the women's revolution. Um, People were excited about Paul Heyman and stuff. Like, I'm excited. I like Paul Heyman. Trust me, I like Paul Heyman. I'm from Philadelphia, and ECW forever. But people kind of forget that Paul Heyman is behind some segments that were not that popular, like the segment with Maria Kanellis and her husband, that whole I'm pregnant and you're not a man and stuff like that. That was Paul Heyman, believe it or not. Paul Heyman can come up with some weird shit, but he could also he's a very brilliant wrestling mind as well. I just don't know which Paul we're going to get. You know what I mean? I don't know what Paul we're going to get. I don't know if we're going to get the Paul that's like, hey, let's, do some crazy matches, stuff like that, and I won't pay you right away type of Paul Heyman, or if we're going to get the pregnant woman telling her husband how much of a man he isn't. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm a little eerie about it. However, I feel kind of good with Papa H in charge. At least we're getting new stuff. Things are exciting again. We're watching Raw and SmackDown and we're trying to see who's going to show up and stuff like that. It's a very fun time. Now, we have seen Papa H bring back some of his kids. There are others that he could possibly bring back. First of all, the name that keeps being thrown out there, of course, is Johnny Gargano, Bray Wyatt as well. Bray Wyatt posted a message. I didn't even look at it or try to interpret it or anything like that because he's been posting things for a very long time. He could bring back Tegan Knox. He could bring back the Iconics, but unfortunately for Triple H, a lot of the people who were released from NXT have now gone on to AEW. And so now it is going to be that fight for that once their contracts are up because of course Tony Khan let it known right away that Adam Cole is signed for 5 years because that of course was the name that was thrown out so many times when Triple H got into power. But there are other people who are under contracts and I know isn't signed for 5 years because we got Andrade over there who has shown that he is not as happy. We got Miro. I believe Aleister Black is signed for 5 years. And not only just people who came from NXT who went over there, Ruby Riott as well, but people who are in AEW who are now like, oh, they're doing wrestling over in WWE too, and they're paying money as well. Because I know not everybody in WWE in AEW is getting paid that CM Punk money. Let's be honest. But with Triple H wants to take over the world. I don't know if people forget about that when he was doing NXT. Like he wanted to bring NXT all over the world. He wanted it in India. He tried to go into Japan, I believe it was, but New Japan Pro Wrestling was like, hell no. I believe he wanted to bring it to South America as well. He's already in the UK, but yeah, he wants to take over the world of wrestling. And we all remember like the big, buyout of every great indie wrestler was put into NXT. So I can only imagine what the hell he's going to do now that he got control of the main roster so he can sign whoever he wants to the main roster and be like, look, you will be put on TV in front of 2 to 3 million people weekly. You got the house shows and stuff like that, the merchandising and everything. I could put you into this storyline. You can get this title shot and everything. So Tony Khan got a lot on his hands. And this is coming from someone who likes AEW as well, but Tony Khan got a lot on his hands. He needs to kind of get it together. And there's also rumors out there too that Tony Khan has been acting a bit erratic. Allegedly, someone wanted to quit on him, and he like had to convince the person not to quit. There's more stories that he is being difficult to talk to and stuff like that. Look, in my opinion, he has a lot on his plate. And I've said this before, he is in charge of booking for two companies now. One big company, basically the number two wrestling promotion in the US, and Ring of Honor, which he could possibly bring up as number three. The thing is, they have a lot of people on the roster, and while it is good when they are having injuries, the issue is that you only have 3 hours of TV time. Now, granted, they do have the YouTube channel and stuff like that. And then they have, the Battle of the Belts and different things that they got going on as well. But the thing is, they've been bringing in a lot of the high name former WWE wrestlers that are getting their time, like CM Punk, John Moxley, the Blackpool Combat Club with now Claudio and Brian Danielson and Andrade and stuff like that. And a lot of people aren't really getting as much TV time. Of course, Malachi Black was one of the people who was used that like kind of disappeared, but it turned out it was actually because of an injury. So it wasn't because, Tony Khan kind of forgot about him. The thing is that when you are putting a lot into like a lot of the bigger names, some people kind of get lost in the shuffle. One of my examples would be Jungle Express. Now they have, something going on because of the turn with Christian and that hot feud. But when they were the tag team champions, they were like kind of thrown to the side. Kind of the same thing with Thunder Rosa too. I mean, they kind of sent her over to Japan, I believe, for her to wrestle. But when she was champion, she wasn't getting as much attention, not as much as Jade Cargill was getting, and especially not as much as Britt Baker was getting when she was champion as well. The Dark Order is pretty much split up. And then there's still the issue with Ring of Honor. How is that going to be handled? You know, we've seen the fallout with Jonathan Gresham, of course. Um, but yeah, with a lot of these top names that are being brought in, you get the newer toys, and sometimes the older toys kind of go off to the side. We brought in Athena, and we have the reemergence of Chris Statlander as well, and Ruby Riott has kind of went to the side. Now I'm not consistent with watching AEW Dark. I definitely don't really watch AEW Elevation because I can't take that commentary team. Sorry, not sorry. Um, but it's hard to, I don't know. It's the I like the concept of AEW Dark and Elevation because it's more of a tryout for the people who are in the local wrestling promotions, to give them a chance to be presented in front of a bigger crowd. And we've seen people get signed from that, like Sky Blue as well, who got signed when she was, pretty much a jobber. We seen, pretty much a tryout. So you can sit there and say, hey, I wrestled for AEW on this promotion at this date and time and stuff like that. The thing is though, I don't know, sometimes, and a lot of people take AEW Dark and Elevation as like they treat it as if it's like 205 Live or Main Event from WWE back, what, like a year or two ago, and it's really not the same. It's not really a show where it's like you're being demoted. They used a lot of the big names to promote the YouTube series, the YouTube shows, I guess I should say. But it's not really like you're being demoted or anything like that. It's really that it's giving people a bit of time, if they want to try out a move or something like that, or if they really don't have a feud just yet, or if they, kind of give you a break from things. I mean, Adam Cole was down there. They put Jon Moxley down there. I forgot who else they put down there, but they put a bunch of big names down there as well. But, it is what it is. But I feel as though that, I don't know, I think Tony Khan should just write down every name of everyone he has on the roster and figure out what he's going to do with everyone. Either they're going to be on AEW on the main shows, or they're going to, stick with Rampage, or they're going to go to Ring of Honor, or you just going to throw them as the jobbers on Dark Elevation until it's time for them to be released from the contract. You know what I mean? I don't know. But let me get into AEW first, since I'm already talking about AEW, and then I'll get into what's going on with WWE, since there was a lot going on. First of all, Battle of the Belts 3 happened. I completely forgot it was happening. And I completely forgot it was only an hour long. I thought it was going to be 2 hours. Um, and I thought it was going to be 2 hours or something special, but first of all, this was pre-taped. So, of course, people knew some of the results right away. I didn't look into the results because I didn't even know it was happening. So I missed out on Jay Lethal versus Wardlow. I kind of got the tail. Oh, no, actually, no. Did I? No. Yeah, I got the tail end of it, actually. Of course, people interfering, stuff like that. Wardlow retained his title. I watched Hayter versus Thunder Rosa. This was a good match, but I just wasn't emotionally involved in this match. Like, this match wasn't. Jamie Hayter was good. She really is. But I don't know. With Thunder Rosa, like, it was exciting when she was chasing the title, but now that she has the title, it feels like she's kind of like plateaued. Um, there's like no spark there. I mean, it's very similar to the booking is kind of similar to Hangman Page. Once he got the title, it kind of like plateaued. The people sometimes when someone gets booked to chase the title, it's like you throw everything, including the kitchen sink, to make things work. And then once they get the title, it's like, okay, you have the title now. We'll just use the fact that people like you to continue it on. But, she hasn't really had like a meaningful feud. I'm just literally waiting for her and Thunderstorm to start fighting each other and for I said Thunderstorm, for Tony Storm to, for her and Tony Storm to have a feud so we can get something going here. Um, but a lot of people mentioned that Britt Baker it was kind of like stole the show of that match because, it's Britt Baker. But Hayter looks really good. I mean, um, Hayter and Britt Baker seem more like a tag team than Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm. The other issue I have with Thunder Rosa is so she came out on Wednesday with a shirt that said sandbagging, or it referenced the sandbagging, which I'll get into that a little later, but I didn't understand why she had that short shirt, or why was it even created from the get-go. We have the Ring of Honor title. Takesha is great, yo. I'm a fan of that man. It was a very technical match, which I love good matches. I really do. I love me a flippy flip match. Like if you a match with straight up like high flying flippy crazy ass spots. I love it. I love me a good storytelling match as well, to really draw me in as far as like the storytelling between the two wrestlers, two friend like Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. I love the storytelling in their matches with Sasha Banks and Bayley, the storytelling in their matches. Um, but I also love me a good technical match too. And this was a great technical match as well. Um, I love William Regal sometimes on commentary. Like he'll try to explain little things too, but he's not like one of those managers where they do nothing but put over their person. Like he actually recognizes greatness in the person as well. Because I think he made the point during I think it was during Daniel Garcia and Yuta Wheeler. Because he mentioned how people ask him why he didn't grab Daniel Garcia. And he was like, well, if I grab all the good people, who are my good people going to go against? We need opponents. And I was like, that's a really good point. And I'm glad that he said something like that. Normally, if someone else would have said, oh, because he actually sucks and all this other stuff. So I appreciate that William Regal actually put people over. But the booking with Tankesha, very good. Great booking for him. Really put him over. I mean, he went against with Jon Moxley, and he had a good match with Jon Moxley as well. But let me get into Dynamite as well. But overall, Battle of the Belts, it was okay. Nothing actually special about it, really. I feel as though, like, I get it that you want to do like a mini special series in between your pay-per-views, but I don't know. I feel like it could be more, I think it could be more. I think it was the first Battle of the Belts that was actually the best out of the three. Like this one was like, nah, it's all right. The Ring of Honor title match was really good, and it was really good, but overall the Battle of the Belts, it was meh. Wasn't really the biggest fan of it. So going into AEW Dynamite, first of all, I love the combination of Tony, Schiavone, Excalibur, and Taz. The three of them. Normally, I love a good, two-man commentary team, but sometimes a three-man commentary team works as well, and I really enjoy these three. Excalibur is the one that really does the play-by-play. Taz says, he's a reactor, and Tony Khan kind of brings up the rear. He adds in with Excalibur as well. And it's not like everybody's talking over everybody when they have them 5-man commentary teams on Rampage at one point. So starting off, Jay Lethal versus Orange Cassidy. It was actually a really good match. And I kind of mentioned this when Orange Cassidy was going against Wardlow. Now, if you've seen the match of Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal, compare that to his match against Wardlow. And it's like night and day. Like with Wardlow, it was a lot of silliness and stuff like that. I mean, in this match, the silliness kind of came from the best friends and whatnot. But once we're in between those ropes, like Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal was going at it, and I kind of don't understand why we couldn't get that with Wardlow. I felt as though a wrestling match, it not as high flying as Jay Lethal and Orange Cassidy, but a legit wrestling match between Orange Cassidy and Wardlow would have been fine. And I guess they decided to do a bit of the silliness to kind of like put over I guess to like save face for Wardlow, since Wardlow like fought 40 guys and stuff like that and won, and he like power bombs people 20 times before he pins them. But I don't know, I just feel like we could have had something better with Wardlow. um I mean, with Orange Cassidy, I understand that the gimmick is over with fans and stuff like that. And he can, even though he's like the sloth, lazy guy, he still kind of goes, all out whenever he wrestles and stuff like that. But I wonder if, if he was no longer Orange Cassidy, if he didn't have the sloth character on him, like what he would look like, you know what I mean? In the end, Jay Lethal won with the lethal injection. I love that. I love the name of that. And after the match, Orange Cassidy gets attacked, and then Wardlow comes out. I forgot the big guy's name, Sanjay, I think it is, or something like that. Or no, Saddam Singh is his name. Sanjay is Jay Lethal's best friend. So Wardlow comes out and stuff like that. I guess we're gonna have a match between these two. I have to say I do not like the phrase Wardlow's world, because it really, and I'm gonna mess some parents' heads up now, because every time I hear that, it makes me think of Elmo's world, and then of course the Elmo's world song plays. I need somebody to remix that for Wardlow saying Wardlow's world, but I know I just killed a couple of parents' minds, because now the Elmo's World song is in your head, and it'll probably be in your head for the next 24 hours, so you're welcome. After that, we had Adam Cole, who is back. He mentioned how he is not medically cleared. He came out with the Young Bucks and the Undisputed Elite, and this was the moment that we were all waiting for. I mean, some people were surprised. I wasn't. I knew this was going to happen sooner or later. And Adam Cole and the Undisputed Elite turned on the Young Bucks, because now we got trios title, and we need trios to be trios again. These factions with 20 people and stuff like that, you got to break it down. But Adam Cole attacked the Young Bucks and stuff like that. And here comes Hangman Page with the save, which, I guess we can do that. Because I heard there's a rumor floating that Kenny Omega could come back at All Out, and I figured if he was coming back at All Out, that he would be coming back to team up with the Young Bucks. But it seems like if Hangman Page is going to be with the Young Bucks, then probably they're going to set up Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page again. I don't know. But yeah, Hangman Page came out with the save, and of course, AEW with their money shots. I mean, we had the shot of the guy crying because CM Punk came back, and now we have the shot of the kid crying because Adam Cole turned on his friends. Which, I don't know, the kid looked very young. He probably was crying because his dad wouldn't buy the $17 ice cream at the concession stand. That's what I think it could have been. I mean, as a parent, when I was traveling with two young kids and they would cry, 9 times out of 10, they weren't paying attention to what was going on in front of them. Normally, they are upset because, like I said, I wouldn't buy something that they had wanted and they couldn't get over it. I mean, it was a point where they couldn't get over it. They learned very quickly, eventually, that, if mom says no, that means no. Do not ask again. Do not cry. Do not, throw a tantrum or anything like that. Um, but yeah, I think this kid was crying because he wanted something and dad said no. Then we went to a backstage segment with Christian and being interviewed by Tony Schiavone. And can we talk about how Jungle Team tried to commit vehicular homicide and that got completely ignored, first of all. I mean, and I call him Jungle Teen because he's not a jungle boy. He's out here, doing attempted murder and whatnot and cursing and stuff like that. That's not a boy. Okay, that's not a boy. He's not a man yet, because he's not acting like an adult here. But he's a jungle teen. That's what I'm gonna call him. He's a jungle teen. Then we get to the women's tag team match, and I'm gonna get to the Thunder Rosa shirt. She came out with a shirt that said sandbagging or something like that, which I didn't. I'm like, okay, I don't know why you did that. First of all, I get the storyline with Britt Baker and stuff like that, but you went on record plenty of times that you didn't sandbag Mercedes Martinez and that all this other stuff. But when everything went down, like Mercedes Martinez didn't walk away from that match looking good either. And so for you to sit there and like, no, I didn't sandbag her and stuff like that, and kind of made it seem like, it was on Mercedes Martinez, and then you turn around and create a shirt about it. It's like, okay, now you're proud of it after you had denied it for quite some time. I mean, I guess I can't really compare it to a different situation. I mean, I could think of like the Nia Jax situation, like her punching Becky Lynch straight in her nose and her saying, "No, I didn't punch her. I didn't actually punch her," and denying it, and then she comes out with a shirt or something like that of, I KO bitches for a living or something. It just, I don't know. It's weird booking for that. It was very weird booking. Truthfully, I keep forgetting that Thunder Rosa is champion. And they mentioned that Tony Storm is the number one contender, and I'm not understanding if you're the number one contender, and this is AEW, which means number one contender gets a title shot. I'm not understanding why Tony Storm is teaming up then with Thunder Rosa if she is number one to get a title shot. I'd be like, hold on, player. You want to team up with me? I'm the number one fucking contender. I want my title shot, and I want it. I want it now. Like, we're not teaming up. We're not. I mean, I guess, it's AEW, so we could be cool and still want to fight each other. But I want to be champ. And I guess, they're gonna hold off on it for right now and have them concentrate on being a tag team, because I guess the next champion would be Tony Storm. I'm guessing that we're going to be doing. I don't know. Jamie Hayter is really good, first of all. Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker is more of a tag team than, I think they're like pretty much the only legit tag team in AEW. And even still, they still have their issues as well. So I don't know how much of a tag team they're going to be here. But I don't know. I get the Tony Storm and stuff like that. It is what it is. Also congratulations to Tay Conti and Sammy Guevara. They legit got married. Whatever they do in their relationships, whatever they do in a relationship. But, don't sit there and publicly put your shit out there and get mad at people for critiquing the shit that you put out there. First of all, Eddie Kingston is a gem. They started to do a video package and stuff like that of Tay Conti and Sammy Guevara, and he cut it and was like, "This is a wrestling show. You want me to stand like, pretty like a dumbass to the TV, stuff like that." Such a gem. Great with promos, stuff like that. I just wish that it kind of translate in the ring, to be honest. I mean, we've seen him in the Blood and Guts and, all the other matches, stuff like that. I just wish it translated better in the ring with him. Like, his promo skills matches the wrestling skills. Not saying that he can't wrestle, that's not what I'm saying, but he is such an exceptional wrestler I mean, are exceptional, on promos. And it just kind of like sucks when you get someone who's really good on promos and the wrestling doesn't match, or someone who's really great at wrestling and the promos just don't match. It's just a bit frustrating. Sometimes just put those two people together, you know what I mean? Team Taz is over, which is, what is expected. I'm ready for face Ricky Starks here. I'm ready for the promos. I'm ready for it all. He is like, throw the rocket on that man, please. Ricky Starks is magic. I first seen Ricky Starks when he was in NWA, and I was like instant fan of him. And so when I saw that he came over to AEW, I was very happy for him. When Taz sat there and was like, Team Taz is over, I'm like, all right, Dad, we already know where your allegiance is going. You said Team Taz is over because we know that you're going to be sitting there high-fiving your son in the back, being proud that he brought the FTW title back to New York. Like, we get it. Um, Truthfully, I skipped Christian and Matt Hardy's match towards the end. I don't know. Like, Matt Hardy is exciting when he's with Jeff Hardy. I said it. Matt Hardy by himself, like when he first came to, first of all, when he first came to AEW, he came as the broken gimmick, which I kind of didn't really care for. And then of course he wrestled as a singles wrestler, and he started doing a lot of the crazy shit that his brother also does, except for like he was getting injured off of it. And Matt Hardy had his moments and stuff like that, but now we're at the point where I'm not interested in watching a match of Matt Hardy. And 2001 me will be kicking my ass right now hearing me say that. But yeah, I just right now, I guess I should say. Maybe it'll change in the future. Maybe he'll do something crazy or like switch up the gimmick or something like that. But just right now, I'm kind of done. Like maybe it was the fact that once the Hardys came together in AEW, it just like it was exciting because of nostalgia and stuff like that. But then they started wrestling and it's just like it's not the same. It really isn't the same. Um, Daniel Garcia calls himself the Dragon Slayer because he won against uh Brian Danielson. I keep wanting to say Daniel Bryan. Brian Danielson. He's a level 42 Dragon Slayer. Congratulations. The dumpster match. First of all, Matt Caster is a national treasure. Every time I see the Acclaim, I can't wait to see their entrance. Of course, he threw out Vince McMahon's name out there. He said he was going to put the Gun Boys in retirement like Vince McMahon. And I was like, wow, we threw it out there. The dumpster match was cool. It really was cool. It definitely, I don't know, every time I see or hear about a dumpster match, it makes me think of the dumpster match with Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. I'm sure not a lot of people know of that name, but you probably also know him as Terry Funk as well. But it was a crazy dumpster match, happy that I think this was the first dumpster match for AEW. The finish though is a bit crazy. The Acclaim had pushed the dumpster off the edge with with Gunn's kids in it, and I hope they're okay because I saw they zip tied. First of all, they zip tied the top of the dumpster, but them zip ties had to been from the dollar store because I thought they were thicker than they were, but that top popped right open, and I hope that they're okay because that kind of scared me. I think I saw a foot hanging out or something like that. But yeah, I I um I was scared. We also had finished up with the Chris Jericho versus Yuta as well. This was a good match. It really was. Chris Jericho winning in the end. I agreed with that. Of course, then he started attacking William Yuta afterwards, which brought out John Moxley, and Jericho and John Moxley had a back and forth promo. And the line, and I wrote it down verbatim so I can remember from Chris Jericho. He said, I'm going to stretch the shit out of you, which, never in my 30 oh gosh, I'm not 39 yet. Never in my 38 years would I thought I heard a wrestler tell someone in 2022 that I'm going to stretch the shit out of you. Um, I'm sure he's going to put that on a shirt at some point as well, because that's what Chris Jericho does. But yeah, we're having the match between I believe that match is this week as well. I don't even know if this week has something. Oh yeah, the Quake at the Lake. We're going to have Chris Jericho going against Jon Moxley. Jay Cargill is appearing with Madison Rayne. I didn't watch Rampage like that, so I missed the appearance of Madison Rayne. So I'm excited to see this match between these two. Jay Cargill, of course, is going to win. Darby Allin versus Brody King in a coffin match. Lucha Bros versus Andrade and Rush in a tornado tag team match. That's going to be the match of the fucking night, I tell you. FTRs to appear. Then we have Ricky Starks going against Aaron Solo. And we're going to see Ricky Starks being put over. Of course, throw the rocket on that man, please. So getting into WWE, a lot of excitement. It's a new day. Yes, it is. Starting off with SmackDown. First of all, the shenanigans on SmackDown, just to show us, like, nah, SmackDown can get crazy too. Pat McAfee punted an autographed football into the crowd, just for free. No one had to pay for it. Unlike, someone who mentioned they paid $130 to stand 20 feet away from Sasha Banks Naomi. Here, someone paid probably what, on StubHub, you could probably get them tickets for $70, and they caught an autographed football from Pat McAfee, and he punted it as well. We had an appearance of Shane McMahon on SmackDown. They showed a throwback clip of the DX Express bus being exploded by Stone Cold, and we saw Shane McMahon. So, hey, we're acknowledging that Vince had a son. We also saw, first of all, Liv Morgan comes out to a crowd of boos, and they didn't mask it or anything like that. She acknowledged that she was being booed. No, she acknowledged the chants. They were chanting, "You tapped out." Sonya interrupts, and then we lead to a gauntlet match for her title. Because, Ronda Rousey got suspended indefinitely, because when she comes back, obviously she's going to win her title, depending on who gets it. And so we had a gauntlet match for the winner to go against Liv Morgan for her title at Clash at the Castle. And so we started out with Sonya Deville going against Aaliyah, and then Sonya Deville going against Raquel. Raquel won that match to go against Shotzi. Raquel won that match, then she went against Xia Li. And then out comes Shayna Baszler, and she looked like NXT Shayna Baszler. And Shayna Baszler won the match. It was a pretty good match between her and Raquel, first of all. And Shayna Baszler won that match, and she's going to get a title shot at Clash at the Castle. Interesting thing, I wonder if Triple H is going to pull this off, but what if Shayna actually wins the title from Liv Morgan, and we have a potential Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey match? That'll be something very interesting to watch and see, and I wonder how that feud is going to work out as well. I mean, I'm going to go for my girl Shayna all day, every day. But I think that's going to be a pretty good feud, and it's something that can actually happen because Triple H actually books wrestling. Also, the women's tag team titles are back. Papa H letting us know, like, hey, I know that there's the women's tag team titles. A lot of Io Sky and Dakota Kai being featured with Bayley. But they released the bracket. First of all, they released the damn bracket for this women's tag team championship. And Papa H letting everyone know, like, yo, I got some shit for y'all. So we see on one side Tamina and Dana Brooke versus Io Sky and Dakota Kai. Alexa Bliss and Asuka going against Nikki, ASH, and Doudrop, who probably going to get her name back as well eventually. We have Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah going against Xia Li and Shotzi. And then we have Natalya and Sonya Deville going against Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. So there is going to be a whole generation of people who's going to see Nikita Lyons on live TV, and they're going to fall in love. I know that, there's a lot of people that's talking about her political affiliations, stuff like that. I ain't going to get into that. But there's going to be people who are going to see her and they're going to fall in love. They're going to fall instantly in love. I don't know if this is her being called up to the main roster permanently, because when the women's tag team titles were first introduced, it was introduced as a title that was going to potentially be defended on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT as well. And with NXT now being this NXT 2.0, I don't know how that's going to work out, but I'm here for it. I'm here to watch it all with my popcorn. I really am. And I'm hoping that I know that, of course, there's a lot of speculation that this will introduce the return of Sasha Banks and Naomi. I'm guessing the finals will be at Clash at the Castle. That's where we're going to crown the title, the champions there. And then I guess their first opponent's going to be Sasha Banks versus Naomi. That's when they'll return or something like that. I'm fine. If they return, I'm fine with it. I just hope they don't. I'm hoping that we're not going to get any fuckery and they somehow be entered into the tournament somehow. That's what I'm hoping will not happen. But I'm fine with, if they get their title shot, because WWE loves the rematch clause when they want it to work for them. Speaking of Clash at the Castle, we also have, Roman Reigns coming out to address his feud against Drew McIntyre. We had this segment backstage of Sami Zayn trying to get a word in with the with Roman Reigns, and of course the Usos was sitting there, messing around with him and stuff like that. But yeah, we had Roman Reigns cutting a promo. Then out came Drew McIntyre. And, of course, they have a bit back and forth and stuff like that. And, and then comes the craziest part of the night. The screen turns black and white. I popped because I see a female figure standing at the entranceway in front of Drew McIntyre. I immediately recognized who she was, and I said, "Oh snap, TikTok, motherfucker, you about to die." But yeah, we got Scarlett coming back with Karrion Kross. I guess we're gonna keep it Karrion Kross right now. Oh yeah, that was his name in NXT actually, so that's fine. But we're gonna get Karrion Kross. She comes over to the ring with a hourglass. She turns it over, and Michael Cole sat there and said TikTok. I think he said TikTok. That may have been just me. But the fact, first of all, can we talk about how crazy Triple H is? My man, Karrion Kross, went from cosplaying as Demolition to now closing out SmackDown with the untouchable Roman Reigns and basically looking him down like that title is mine. Let me tell you, Papa H is letting us know he got full custody of his kids, sat there and brought him back, was like, yo, you messed up my Karrion Kross, and you didn't even bring up Scarlett, which I was surprised about. I was surprised that he didn't bring up Scarlett, because I figured Scarlett, well, and this may be very inappropriate to say, but his flavor, his type of the type of woman he loves to put on TV, but she wasn't on there at all. So I'm excited to see what happens from this. I'm excited for what's to come with SmackDown. I'm I'm just interested in when we gonna take a title off of the tribal chief. Look, I know he's been dominant over 700 days at this point, stuff like that. But a thing I also appreciate too is that the U.S. title and the IC title are really being put over as like very important titles. So speaking of the U.S. title, let's get into Raw. So with Raw, they showed a great promo package of how important the United States title is. Make the United States title great again. Um, First of all, can we talk about let's get into the recap of Raw. Can we talk about Dominic? Dominic needs his real papa back, yo. I feel as though if he was with his real dad, like Eddie Guerrero wouldn't play around with him. Eddie Guerrero would have been teaching him the ropes. Like he would have had Dominic, doing 5-star, he would have been doing shooting star presses all over the ring right now. Instead, he's with his adopted dad. He's getting his ass whooped every single time. And it's not like he's getting his ass whooped by not by Finn Balor or stuff like that. He's getting his ass whooped by Rhea Ripley. And now I know that there is a line of people still waiting to, take the spot of Dominic, but it's he keeps getting his ass whooped, and they pretty much made him nothing. But hey, I'm Rey Mysterio's kid. Remember me from the segment with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero? Yeah, that was me. And so I don't know. I don't think we could ever come back from that. I'm interested to see how Triple H is going to help out Dominic, so we won't look at him and say, oh, that's Ray's kid who keeps getting his ass whooped every single week. Like if you want to piss off Rey Mysterio, all you gotta do is go after his kid. You know what I mean? But Raw, first of all, we had a segment with the Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Bayley messing up Dakota. Did I say Dakota Sky? Dakota Kai, but that's what Bayley did. Bayley messed up Dakota Kai's name by saying Dakota Sky. Caught on to it, of course, ad-libbed and stuff like that, and just kept it moving. So now we're getting a 6-woman match at Clash at the Castle. Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. I guess we're setting this up for a eventual, you know, an eventual title shot for Bayley or something like that. But it looks like we're not getting Bianca Belair defending her title just yet at Clash at the Castle. Unless Papa H is crazy enough to bring back Sasha to team up with Bayley and maybe have Naomi on the other side. I don't know. But of course, there's rumors out there that he's talking to Sasha Banks and Naomi. We also had the segment with Seth Rollins talking about Riddle and stuff like that, and of course making fun of the things he would say. Seth Rollins like, look, I'm going on to bigger and better things, which I don't know what that is really, because Roman Reigns already got his hands full with Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. I keep wanting to say Killer Kross, but Karrion Kross. But hey, if Seth Rollins want to join the team, team against Roman Reigns, like take the titles off of Roman Reigns, hey, I'm fine for it. That match between him and Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, it really should have been a longer feud. Like, I'm slightly disappointed that Brock Lesnar kind of like interrupted that. But Brock Lesnar got on his tractor, and he is slowly cruising off into the sunset right now. He said, "I'll see you motherfuckers at the Royal Rumble." But we also had Kevin Owens. He was supposed to go against Ezekiel, but he like pretty much decimated him. Sat there and did the apron power bomb, and Ezekiel was on a stretcher to be gone again. So, look, Papa H is currently pulling an Undertaker and digging up. He's digging up Elias as we speak. But I'm happy that we getting the original Kevin Owens. Even though I like the segment with Kevin Owens and Ezekiel and Elias and stuff like that, it was really cool. But truthfully, it started to run its course just a slight bit. It was getting to that point where it was running its course. The only reason why it was great because of Kevin Owens, it really was. But it was starting to slide. It was starting to run its course. Like, I don't know how many times we have to have this back and forth with Ezekiel and Kevin Owens, especially the fact that it seemed like they was going to bring out a third person at this point. But Ezekiel is going to go and think about it. He's going to bring his big brother back. That's what I think is going to happen. Damian Priest challenges Edge to a match in Toronto, and I'm sitting here trying to like trying to figure out who from the former NXT is from Toronto who's going to show up to help out. Hell, motherfucking Papa H probably might call Bret Hart or something like that to come and help out Edge or something crazy like that. We also had the first leg of the women's tag team title tournament. Io Sky, Dakota Kai, of course, defeats Tamina and Dana Brooke. And Dana Brooke is wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of the whole 24/7 title and whatnot that we've been getting with her and a lot of these little quick matches and instant roll-ups, like she's wrestling. And it was pretty good. It was pretty good. The US title was being put over very hard, like I said before. Bobby Lashley going against Tommaso Ciampa. Yo, I like I said, I really liked Bobby Lashley, especially his entrance, stuff like that. And I keep hoping that he loses the title so you can remember that he's going after the wrong title. But I was like, I don't know if I want Tommaso Ciampa defeating Bobby Lashley though, you know. But good job with the booking of this match that it made you actually think that Tommaso Ciampa was going to win a couple of times, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that when you kind of know who's going to win, but they let you know like no, it could actually go the other way as well. So I appreciate that. We also had Dolph Ziggler going against Chad Gable in a match, like Triple H letting us know that, hey, I could put over Dolph Ziggler too in 2022. Like the last time Dolph Ziggler was so over was fucking 11 years ago. I had to really think about that. It was like back when AJ Lee and Big E was Big E Langston. Back when Big E had a last name. And he wasn't with the New Day. It wasn't a New Day. It was the old day. That's how, like, that's crazy. And, he came out to a nice pop from the crowd. First of all, shout out to the crowd. I forgot where they were for Raw, but the crowd was pretty good. First of all, Papa H letting us know when it comes to these backstage segments, like, there's a lot going on. Like, it's not just two wrestlers talking and then one walk away and then the other one like pans at the face of the person who's still standing there like a dummy as if we're watching a soap opera or something. But when Nikki and Dewdrop was cutting a promo, there was stuff going on in the background and stuff like that. There were security men that was running in, and then we had Io, Sky, Bailey, and Dakota showing up, and they're talking to Nikki, Ash, and Dewdrop. And the security run past by, everybody's looking like, what the hell is going on? And then the trio walked away. And as they're walking away, you see AJ Styles walking past them. And so now the camera is focused on AJ Styles because he's coming to the ring. Chef's kiss, chef's kiss, chef's kiss. Throwing all the roses for this. I love the way this backstage segment was set up. It was set up as if it's a legit backstage segment. Like, if you want to promote like a bit of realism to this, like backstage is normally a bit of pandemonium. Even if you're in the break room at work, it's not just one person standing there having a monologue with themselves. There are other things going on. There's people preparing for a match, stuff like that. And there was another segment backstage too. And if you look in the background, there was a car crash, and you see, I think it was actually Dewdrop and Nikki ASH that was like standing around looking at the car. So it was just like legit things going on. And I like that because now we're in the era where, people watch trailers, movie trailers, stuff like that, and shows and stuff like that, and they try to like piece apart like, what does this mean? Why did they put this in here? Stuff like that. So the fact that we're getting, segments like that, I love it. I really do. I think it's such a great idea that, we're getting, it's like it's a lot going on. So you have to actually pay attention and watch it. Because I'll be honest with you, when it came to them backstage segments, I kind of tuned it out. It's like, okay, either you're talking or are we going to start a brawl? Which one of the two we're doing here. But what was going on in the background was, at first it was like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, it really intrigued your interest, because it's like, all right, why is there a car crash going on in the background? And then you see the security running, and it's like, okay, why is the security running? And it gave you the urge to like tune in and find out. That's a great thing to do, especially when you have a 3-hour show. If you want people to tune into that third hour, because you're crossing into dangerous territory, especially for some of us people who bedtime should actually be at 10 o'clock, but they stay up till 11 o'clock to catch that last hour. Am I talking about me? Probably. But it kept me intrigued. All right, well, maybe what's going on in the background will be revealed in the main event, which we kind of got. We had the match between AJ Styles and The Miz, a no disqualification match. Actually, I remember where Raw took place. It took place in Cleveland. How do I remember? Because everybody and their mama and their grandmama and their pet monkey, well, not pet monkey, pet dog, I should say, was guessing that Johnny Gargano was going to show up at Raw, because we keep having people pop up in WWE now. I mean, we had, Karrion Kross popping up. We had Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai popping up. And, we have letting us know that, Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark is going to be coming as well. And so it's like, okay, who's the person that's coming for Raw? And we get to the end of the match and stuff like that. We're all like, I love Johnny Gargano's theme. I was waiting for that bad boy to hit. I would have popped, definitely, because I love his theme. And we get nothing. And then we get this commotion in the crowd. And I'm saying, like, are they really legit fighting in the crowd at 11 o'clock? And then it's someone who's getting arrested. And come to find out, it's Dexter Lumis. We re-signed Dexter Lumis. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm intrigued. I'm going to tune in next week to find out, hey, why did Dexter Lumis get arrested? And is he connected to this car crash? Is he trying to commit vehicular homicide just like Jungle Teen over in AEW? Who knows? Tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And I like that. I really do. I even enjoyed the little things. Like, you kind of forget that Kevin Dunn is in the production truck, because the camera was focused on AJ Styles, as if what's going on in the crowd was something kind of like fan related. So you kind of didn't want to focus on what was going on, but you still had to focus on what was going on, because it was a wrestler being arrested. And you really couldn't see his face like that, but you could tell Dexter Lumis from anybody. So I don't know what we're getting here. Is Dexter Lumis going to talk? Is he going to be the silent killer? Are we getting Index again? Is Theory disappearing because the Way is coming back with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae? I mean, of course, there's the news out there that Shawn Michaels is actually working on getting Johnny Gargano to come back. And I'm hoping that we get that, because I like Johnny Gargano, and I really hope he comes back, whether he comes back as, the face that he was on NXT, or if somehow they're going to make him heel, which is a bit weird. But even when he was kind of the heel with the Way, like, he made it work so well. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it definitely made me interested to tune in. I'm going to tune in next Raw to see what is going on. But it's a very exciting time for wrestling fans. And like I had said earlier, with that great episode of Raw, now Tony Khan has 48 hours to respond with a good Dynamite. And I'll just sit back and relax with my popcorn and my bottle of water, and I'm going to watch some great ass wrestling. So now we got Clash of the Castle coming up, which I think is on a Saturday, and then All Out is on a Sunday. And then we have Raw I saw that we have an event too. NXT Heatwave is coming up. I think it's actually this weekend. I haven't really been watching NXT like that. I am very interested to know, though, with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in charge, what are they going to do with NXT 2.0? If they're going to kind of keep it the same, where it's, we're bringing in people who don't have wrestling experience and we're putting them, through this, this type of wrestling, or is he gonna like slowly come back to the black and gold NXT, which technically he doesn't really need to do because he has that with the main roster now. Like he can make the main roster kind of like NXT 3.0 right now and leave NXT 2.0 as is, bring in people who don't have a lot of wrestling experience. We'll put you onto this, put you in the PC show. Once we feel as though you're kind of good enough to wrestle and cut promos, we'll put you through NXT 2.0 first. And then once you hit that stride where, you're good enough, you can graduate to the main roster, which I think will be kind of a good thing. But yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen now with WWE. It's just an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. So that's it for the Wrestlebread podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Shout out to Julian Rob Bass from Wrestling Court Podcast and TurnedMinds.com. Keita and Jay from the Keita and Jay Show. Chris from We Talk Next Podcast, which is featured on the Keita and Jay Show. Nando and Larry from Half K Podcast. Devin Hafiz from Clark Street Wrestling Podcast. Also, shout out to Straight Talk Wrestling, Top Rope Wrestling Talk as well, and Circle Debate, which they just did an episode on the New Japan Pro Wrestling G1. If you are a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's late over here, so that's why I'm kind of like getting tongue-tied with the letters here. But if you definitely are a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, definitely check them out on their latest recap of the G1 that's going on. I have to check that out. I have to check out I heard some of the matches and I watched like the highlights that New Japan had posted on YouTube. But eventually I'll get around to watching the whole thing. But coming up next week, I'm going to continue on with the review of, what's going on with Dynamite and what's going on with SmackDown and Raw, as well as we work our way towards the Clash at the Castle and eventually All Out. I don't know. It's called Quaid at the Lake. I don't know why. I feel like AEW has something else going on, like another special or something like that. Maybe it's just All Out and we need Tony Khan to go all out with the booking and make Dynamite a little bit more exciting right about now. But also coming up, and I promise I'm going to do it, is working on the YouTube channel to actually put out some videos. The end of August, I'm going to be officially a fan watching WWE for 30 years. I started watching WWE with Summerslam in 1992. So I figured I don't know, I guess I celebrate that I've been a wrestling fan for 30 years. But I'm going to do some reactions and stuff like that on the YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out as well. You can hop on Twitter and follow me at JAYDEE, the letter C137. That's JDC137. You can also find the podcast on Twitter at Wrestlebread as well. You can click the links on the bio for the Facebook, the Instagram pages, and the YouTube channel, as I just talked about. Leave a review. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what type of things you would like for me to react to as well. And thank you so much for listening. And until next time, guys, peace.